Uh, Welcome everybody to the bonus call live Q&A for the partnership portal. This is so amazing, just this whole entire journey and everything that this portal has like really activated. First, just in the initiation of the saying yes and all the spaces and places that I was asked to travel before even coming into the call. And then all the stretching and all the clarity and all of the things that have come through as a collective part of this experience as we all have brought our energies here, our lives, our relationships, our desires, our struggles, our victories, just the essence of who we are coming into the same space together and moving with purpose, moving with focus, moving with intention. There's something so exquisitely beautiful about that. And I say it often, there's nothing more that I actually love than watching this piece come alive in women in particular. It is so like juicy and full of life, and it's just so magnificent. And I hope to spend the rest of my days here watching more and more women come alive inside of themselves and really understanding the potency of what we hold in stewardship as women, as life bearers, birthers, creators. There's just nothing like it. And I love our men. I'm so grateful for the men. I have unwound from a lot of the like energy that, women, we could just do it all and we don't need the men. That actually just leads to another kind of imbalance. And so this honoring of the men and honoring of the women, and how do we dance together? How do we first learn to dance with inside of ourselves? And this partnership portal and just breaking down a lot of these pieces and having a lot of these conversations, I feel like brought in so much clarity around how we can do that inside of ourselves and then how we can bring it into the world. So let's take a moment to really pray and give thanks to this time and all of the beautiful pieces of wisdom that have come in as blessings for us. May these seeds of wisdom continue to be nourished and nurtured by the light and the water of life itself and the intelligence of the universe and the beauty of all of these living elements that are a part of this very specific earth experience, that there really is organic life here. We can see it in the water, we can see it in the trees, we can see it in the animal kingdom, we can see it everywhere we look if we slow down and we pay attention and we just for a moment are in communion with this sacredness of life and the sacredness of life within ourselves. Thank you for this exquisite time of energetic potency of this Lion's Gate that opens really on July 26th, peaks on 8/8, and then we still have until the 12th to really work with this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful field that is supporting in manifesting and creating and cultivating the deepest desires of our hearts. So thank you, thank you, thank you for these energies. Thank you for the lands that all of us are on right now, for the ancestors who we come with in our DNA and our lineage, and for all the awakened and well ones that are available to support us through prayer, through song, through distant memories and dreams, and what it is to walk in reverence and respect and communion with life. Thank you that you are with us. Thank you for the angelic realm. Thank you for those who really were in stewardship of the lands that all of us are on. We bow to you in gratitude and ask for your help and support in this time that we come into deeper remembering rather than more forgetting, that we come to find that essence of God and life within ourselves and continue to support ourselves in ways that would amplify that and grow that in our lives. And thank you for all these beautiful questions. I pray always that I stay out of the way with any of my own personality or opinions and really be an open and clear instrument and channel for what is in the deepest and highest service to this moment in time, to the wisdom of truth, to the questions that are being asked, and that everything that comes through is like a nectar and a medicine to support each one of us in our journeys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Aho, ashe. Okay. So a lot of the questions that are coming through have been connected to the conversations around people pleasing and what does it look like to be in empathy, and how do I take care of myself, and how do I continue to strengthen having really beautiful, sovereign, healthy boundaries for myself. And then how do I be in communication in a way that that gets stronger in me and gets stronger in my relationships. Most of them had this thread. So what's interesting is I was really feeling like, okay, we're going to go into this legacy of love or legacy of leadership, or for those who feel called to do both, there's going to be an offering for that. And I actually like put them all together last night, like just getting the container set. And today I was like, what are the dates? And it was just this like, there's actually something else first. And I want to thank you, Lauren, because you really highlighted the question. Well, you said something like, this people pleasing thing, like if you do something on people pleasing, I'll give you my firstborn. So I I don't need a firstborn. I have firstborns. And I know you love yours. So but that actually felt like the invitation for the what is next. Also, it is connected to all the other questions and the things that we're going to go through today, which is all around this people pleasing conversation. Like, how do I stand in a place of sovereignty and know what that means, know what it feels like, and hold it with all of my might, with discipline, with compassion, with empathy, with clarity, with discernment, with stewardship, devotion, all of those things that we have been really like distinguishing the difference between one field that is fueled with fear and the other that is fueled with like really inspired love and wisdom. And so the next actual thing before I even offer the legacy of love and legacy of leadership is going to be exactly what you're asking for, is the Empowered Empath Portal. And is going to be 5 days. We're going to open on the full moon, September 17th. We're going to have an opening ceremony. And we are going to start highlighting some of these pieces. And then we are going to go into a conversation for 3 days together. And we're going to close it on the new moon, which is October 2nd. So it's going to be a total of 5 days. And it's going to be $222, which is like such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift. And we're going to get actually deeper into the people pleasing, how to walk in this way as an empowered empath. And if you are feeling like on the other side of this call or this container, those are the places that you also were left with, wow, I really want to know more about these things. What are all these layers? How do I strengthen this? Then this is going to be such a beautiful gift to give yourself in this September through like just right at the beginning of October. And it will be 5 days. So I'm so excited about this. I actually was like this morning, okay, this is not what I thought, but I love it. Okay, life, let's go. Let's go. Okay, amazing. So I'm going to start with this distinction between kind and nice. The question was asked, right? What is the difference here between kind and nice? So what I want you guys to also understand is when we are getting deeper into these distinctions between like when there's a word and another word, right? We can look at the definition. So I actually pulled this definition of nice, which is really like pretty appropriate: pleasant, agreeable, satisfactory. Okay, that's nice. This is what most of us, especially as little girls, were trained into because it was the program that was on the table when we came in. It's the ones that our mothers really felt like were appropriate to follow so that they could survive, feel safe, do what they need to do, and to be able to stay sane ultimately, right? Because to be kind requires a connection to our heart, a connection to our heart in the sense that it will open up places of pain and invite us into grief, because kindness is connected to compassion, and compassion isn't born unless we're willing to let our hearts break. So when we look back just one generation, I was actually on the phone with somebody last night, and we look, it's like being patient with ourselves, that we're not unwinding something that our mothers were unwinding. We're actually unwinding something brand new, right? They were unwinding some other things that were brand new. This is our brand new thing that we're unwinding, because there wasn't actually that place, that there was a somewhere for them to go. There was a space and a container for them to land, for them to start sorting out and sorting through the very real impact in their nervous system, in their heart, that came from the impact of just the evolution of consciousness here on Earth. So to let them off the hook as much as we can, and to understand that most of them probably did a great job with the curriculum available to them at the time. This is our curriculum. It's different, right? So NICE is going to be a strategy that is going to suppress, oppress all of our feelings, needs, wants, desires for the sake of keeping peace. There's a big difference between following peace and being devoted to peace and keeping peace. Keeping peace is dishonest in a lot of moments, right? It's just like, let me use a different word. It's not all inclusive, right? It dismisses and disregards the very real experience that we might be having, or something that we really want to be saying. And it overrides all of that in a trauma response that normally starts with freeze and then goes into the fawning response. So NICE is going to be from that place. NICE is going to be, I want to be a good person. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to have anybody be disappointed in me. I don't want to experience disappointment in myself. So I'm going to be what I think this moment is calling for, to not create conflict or shake things up, because I don't have the confidence in myself in this moment to navigate that. So I'm going to grab for the thing that is going to create at least a little bit of safety, even if it's like a false temporary state of safety. I'm going to grab for that because I don't really know the way through, right? Where kindness is a very different place to stand. Like, I can feel compassion towards somebody's experience and not override my truth to accommodate their needs or their feelings. Now, this is a very radical, radical path for women to take, because the training has been to not do that, right? We abandon ourselves, we abandon our truth, we abandon our voice, we abandon our discomfort, and we move into just what is going to maybe put a Band-Aid on something or make the moment pass. Okay, I got through that one. Now, this is also connected to the overgiving, and somebody actually had a question specifically about this. It feels like the next place to go. Okay. Giving. Where did it go? Somebody had a question about this. Fields of fixing. What's a healthy distinction between generous and overgiving when you're being of service? So this is, again, connected to the NICE, right, versus kind energetic fields. And again, this is what I started to say, and I kind of went in a different direction. Beyond definitions, Like definitions will give you more access to other words that also have fields. And to me, that's the place that I am constantly in the inquiry of is like, how do I feel in the presence of something? How is my body responding to the presence of something? This is where our deepest wisdom lies as women. Now we have a lot of stuff to purify ourselves from on the inside so that our instrument again can be clean and clear so that we can really listen and learn to trust ourselves and also what to do with the information that we're receiving, right? Because just because we are feeling something, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do something about it. Oftentimes it's actually the invitation to pause and just sit with it for a minute. Be curious about it for a moment. Let life organize some things on our behalf and the behalf of everybody else, right? That kind of bring things into a settling or bring things into a clarity. So there's a lot of things that I watch and I see and I can sense, and I'm like, I know what's coming. Where I've gotten myself into trouble is offering my unsolicited advice or coming from a place of fear and projecting the future and inserting myself in a moment where I didn't need to insert myself. Like just because I see and I sense something does not always mean I have to say something. Right. So this is part of the practice and part of the mastery of learning this piece. So when it comes to the difference between generosity and overgiving, it's similar, right? If I am giving from a place that I don't have something to give, then I am overgiving. If I am overgiving and that moment leads me to a huffing and a puffing, a resentment, a martyrdom energy, feeling like everything is on me, I have to do everything by myself, and secretly on the back end of me giving somebody something else to someone, then I feel a certain way about that that creates distance and separation and disconnection between me and that person, then this is a space of overgiving, right? Overgiving is going to lead to resentment. It just will. And it's also not a free gift. So generosity is I am giving something because I feel so inspired to give this moment, to give this gift, to give this um, whatever it is. And I'm solid about it inside myself. There's no strings attached. There's no like, I need something from you on the other side of it. I don't need to be validated. This is the other piece. It's like, this is the tricky part, right? So we could potentially believe that we don't need something necessarily from somebody else in our giving, but we could be secretly inside of ourselves doing something to just validate to our own selves that we're good or important, right? So again, it's the in order to, like, if this thing that I'm doing is to give that or seek that validation either from myself or from somebody else, chances are, very high chances, there's definitely that overgiver that's involved in the negotiation. And so again, slowing ourselves down because this is a compulsion, the compulsion to overgive. Hear that, feel it, and just start to feel for a moment like, wow, how many times in my life, right, did I just have the compulsion to overgive something that actually was hurtful to me? This one ran so deep down to the tippy tips of my toes. Like, oh, the belief that in order to love, in order to take care of, in order to prove like my loyalty and to be a good person, that I had to, in many moments, hurt myself in order to give to other people. So that belief that is connected to the compulsion to continue the behavior is something to highlight, to recognize, to be so interested in. So tracking, right? The next time that something is going on with somebody and you feel that like knee-jerk thing inside of you to jump in or offer something or say the right thing, or if someone asks you, because there's a lot of times we're doing that and nobody's even asking us. Now, what if somebody asks us and it's actually a no, but the compulsion to give overrides the no and turns into a yes? I'm looking at question. Any tips on how to break the cycle when you're already in that loop with a friend? Yeah. So first, this has been the thing that I see with any kind of organic. Again, we're in an organic realm. So just remembering this, like Earth is an organic realm. There's other realms that operate in different ways. This is an organic realm that is connected to nature. And so we can look here and we can see how she functions, and we can actually learn something about just how it is here. So what I've seen around things with like, okay, I'm in this pattern. I want to be in this pattern instead, right? There's not going to be, most of the time, a jumping from this way of being into this way of being just automatically. So what will happen is we will notice the pattern and go, okay, I see it, right? I see it. Then we will do it, because just because we see it doesn't mean we're not going to do it. So we will do it. And then we take that moment on the back side as quickly as we can. And we go, okay, let me look at this and see the moment that I went into the thing. All right. So we're going to catch it. Hindsight's 2020. We're going to see it after it's happened. And then we're going to take the moment and we're going to look at it. We're going to be curious about it. We're going to put our research caps on and we're going to see how in which we moved and participated in the moment that we stepped over our own limit and boundary and went into that place of overgiving and the compulsion. And we're going to bank that. We're going to go, okay, I'm taking that as wisdom. I'm taking that as an understanding. And then hopefully the next time we catch it a little bit sooner. See, these patterns have been happening, right? Without our even awareness. Like we've just been doing them and we didn't even know that we were doing them. So while it may take you a week to go, oh, I did that thing, right? Then maybe it'll take you 5 days, then maybe it'll be 3, and then maybe it'll be 2, and then maybe it'll be 1. And then maybe there's going to be this moment, there will be, actually not maybe, there's going to be inevitably the moment that if you keep practicing and taking the information and learning and being a student over and over and over again, you're going to be able to, in the moment, start to feel that thing come alive. Right. And in the moment now, because you can see it and you're not in the compulsion of it, there's something else called you watching the thing versus you being taken hostage by the thing right away. And now what we've cultivated is just a tiny bit of space between us and that thing that we've been powerless over for God knows how long. And then maybe we'll do something different. Maybe not. Maybe we'll still jump right into the pattern, but at least we created that moment of space. And so now we just keep creating more and more and more space. And we start asking ourselves, what could I do instead in that moment? What is the wisdom of my deepest essence, my soul, my body, my bones? Like, what was my truth in that moment that I didn't say? And so we start now not only creating space from the thing that we've been compulsively doing and ourselves, but we start creating another option on the table. Right? So eventually we get to a place where it's like, oh, I have 2 ways I could go here. I can go this way, or I can go this way. And now we're going to start choosing, I'm going this way. It's going to be a little bit wobbly, right? We're going to say it in a weird way. We're going to say it in a way that might be short or impatient or aggressive because we're scared and we've never set boundaries before. And it just might be a little bit funky for a minute. But again, we're going to take that and we're going to become the student of that moment. And we're going to look at it and we're going to go, okay, what can I learn about that? How do I fine tune this? How do I fine tune my energy where I was coming from? How do I fine tune maybe what I said? And so all of these moments, again, become the gifts and the lessons if we're paying attention. But if we don't even know what we're looking for, it's really hard to move any of these pieces. So that's a great question. And this is going to happen with just about everything. Everything I have wanted to transform inside of myself has been in those stages. It's like, oh, I see it. Great. I have awareness. Without that, I would have had nothing. Oh, there I am. I did it. Very important to not, in this process, again, take ourselves down because we didn't get it right. Right? It's like, can I start cultivating even a kind and loving conversation with myself in those moments? Like, yep, wasn't quite it, but what did we learn? That wasn't quite the thing, but you know what? Good for you that you really went for it. Good for you that you tried something new. That was so brave. That was so brave that you actually stepped into something that you've never known how to do. And it's okay that it was a little bit wobbly. What do we learn from it? Right. So it's like that difference in even the internal dialogue and conversation that we have, where we're not using shame as our motivator. We're using kindness, we're using compassion, we're using that loving energy of a mother to really be so supportive, like our own encouragement, our own cheerleader, our own internal validator, right? Without needing to use other people to have that experience. So this is a whole entire shift in our way of being. Okay. Um, so the people pleasing versus empathy, that there are many layers of this. There are many layers of this. This is actually what is going to go into the Empowered Empath portal. So we're going to get more clarity around the layers of people pleasing, examples of how this shows up, right? How to maybe do this differently, what's going on inside of ourselves, and how to continue to recalibrate this piece within ourselves so that we can attune our instruments and really have different kinds of conversations and interactions with other human beings. Oh God, let's see. Um, this was a great question. Someone asked if I could touch on the distinction between judgment versus opinion. And I was really contemplating this piece because there can be a lot of similarity here, but there's also this subtlety in the way that I experience it or see it or feel it that makes it also a little bit different. So oftentimes our opinions will come with judgments and our judgments will come with opinions. The moment that, for me, the distinction becomes one over the other is, it's like you can imagine the judge, right? Like with the mallet, like there's like a decision that's made, a final verdict. There's like a good, bad, guilty, innocent, right? It's very much structured in that judicial, right? You can hear the word judgment, judicial, right, wrong, good, bad, this or that. So that doesn't really leave a lot of space for any complexity or nuance, where I could have an opinion about something and not be fiercely in judgment that it is the absolute right opinion of something. Opinions leave a little bit more room for some of the nuances and some of the complexities and a little bit more space than judgment will leave. So it's a fine line between the two. And they often, again, are accompanied by one another. And sometimes they're not, right? So what I would say is, for all of us to just look at where there's this rigidity inside of ourselves, where we are determining, right, this judgment of what is good and bad and right and wrong. This will be a lot of what is in the legacy of love container when it comes, and it's going to come after November now, because I am going to be very, very, very ready for both that and the legacy of leadership after going through 2 more trainings myself. And also I will be coming back from Egypt. So I will be coming back from Egypt with a lot, even more recalibration inside of myself. And I'm really excited for those 2 containers when they come in November. But this is going to be a lot of like really understanding, again, the nuances and the complexities and so much of what happens in our hearts. And, even like with the opinion piece, being curious about our opinions. How helpful are our opinions? Right? Like, is it something that allows for greater connection inside of myself and with other people? Or is it something that creates division and separation, even inside of myself, and then the way that I view other people? Like, I can have a conversation with somebody and understand that they might have a radically different or a radically strong view about something that I don't have. What I look for is the essence of the humanity that's underneath the opinion and underneath the judgment. Like, what is this person hoping for? What is this person afraid of? I'm always looking for how I can connect to that place in the human experience where I can see myself in them and see them in me, even if they're saying something that I completely I'm not on board with. A lot of times, also, the difference between judgment and opinion is judgment is usually fueled by fear. Opinion may or may not have that, right? Like I might have a preference. I might prefer vanilla ice cream over strawberry ice cream, right? But I'm not like, strawberry ice cream is terrible. Everybody who eats strawberry ice cream is just like an idiot, right? Like I can just have a preference that might be like an opinion that is not so separating. And even when I have an opinion or a preference, can I still be so curious to see and feel the essence of the humanity of like the desire in that is to enjoy my experience. And the person eating strawberry ice cream is their desire is to enjoy their experience. Amazing. That works for you. This works for me. Amazing. So what's right for me is right for me, and what's right for you is right for you. And can I actually just hold still some connection between us, even though it is maybe radically different what's right for me and what's right for you? And can I trust that life and God are in all of it? Because when I get scared that that's not present, that's where I go down inside myself. That's where I'm going to start grasping for something in my mind or something to feel right about, to take a stance because I'm scared. And so the practice, judgment, opinion, whatever it is, for me is always looking at those deeper places where like I can see myself and I can just see the humanity, and I can see you and I can see your humanity. So that was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ask. And yes, this is a heated time. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear, and it doesn't matter which side you ask. This one's afraid of this one, and this one's afraid of this one, but it's fear across the board. So I'll give you my perspective on this. This is a polarizing system in and of itself. There are two sides, and then this one other pretend thing that people pretend like is a thing, but it's really not. There are two sides. It is a system that is designed to create separation. It is a system that is designed to create a winner and then a loser. It is a system that is also designed to give people a false sense of where their security lies. When we are in our sovereignty and in the deepest listening And we are actually in the system of God and life, and that collaboration that is united, that thing actually becomes quite irrelevant. So I look and I go, holy shit. If I take out the names and I take out the policies and I take out the things that people are fighting to be right or wrong about, and I look at the humanity, I go, oh my God, everyone is so afraid. Everyone is afraid and wondering what's coming next. Everyone is afraid and wondering, how are we going to be so safe? It touches the place that is so vulnerable in our human condition, which is, what is the right thing to be a good person? How do I get this right? Which choice do I make to get it right? And then the pressure of it. What if I get it wrong? Or what if it goes wrong? You see, it's all part of that. It's all part of the very frequencies and fields that in the beginning of this conversation, we were starting to pull apart. So to me, like, it's the question of, how do I want to use my energy? How do I want to use and dance with the precious energy that I'm given in this gift of life? Do I want to use it inside even myself, being angry and resentful and scared and right about what's the answer here? Do I want to use it going toe to toe with people maybe even I love? No, I do not. I don't involve myself in these conversations. I just don't. You know, someone says something, I look for the humanity. I look for what their heart is hoping for. I look for the vulnerability of how they feel afraid. I look at how there still is a disconnect between them and their knowing of who actually they are in connection with God and life. And then I meet it to the best of my ability with compassion, not sympathy. Hear the difference. Like, compassion is not like, oh, you have that opinion. I have compassion for you. I'll pray for you. And it's like, it's not that, because even that is like, I know better and you're not that smart. And, like, I'm going to have compassion, right? It's not that. It's having compassion for not the opinion, not the judgment, not the rightness. It's having compassion for why somebody has to grasp for that in the first place. Right? We've been trained away from our sovereignty. We've been trained away from actually the one who has all power. We've been trained away from like the harmonious thing that exists inside of all of us in the ecosystem of life. And we're afraid because of it. So there are things that have been invented, right, that are like supposed to be the solutions. I just more and more unravel myself from that. And then I focus my energy and I focus my intention in creating actually other things that operate fully outside of that entire reality anyway. There have been times where I fought against things and then I just went, wow, I took myself down in so much fear. I depleted all my energy. Like, I'm actually of no use to myself or anybody else right now. So this is really not the way for me. And so you got to choose what's right for you. All right. I feel so manipulated. Well, yeah. I really understand. So, that's also, right, the part where it's like in sovereignty, we become less available for manipulation. And we don't even necessarily have to be super mad about it. Because again, is that the best use of our energy? Like I can see, oh, and then how do I work on my insides to not react to that, but rather just respond in a way that is the most loving for me in that moment that serves the greater thing that I'm here to do and that I'm here to be, right? And not holding other things responsible for that. Yes, I vote for sovereignty. My vote is sovereignty. I vote for this too. Okay. Catching ourselves in the fields of fixing and possession, etc. So I think that some of what I've said, and there's another question that is connected to this, sharing ways to shift back to ourselves to recalibrate and attune to our limits and our boundaries. Really getting clear on what our boundaries are. Okay. So there's a few questions that are really connected. I'm going to answer this one about catching ourselves when we're in the fields of fixing and possession and all of these things. And it's similar to just the conversation we were just having, right? It's like when I am in a state of fixing, then the energy behind what I'm doing is that something is wrong. Because if something's wrong, then it needs to be fixed, right? Where more and more and more, if I'm looking at things in a way where like I'm clear that I'm practicing stewardship and devotion. And so there's not a place in me that is clinging to something like I am the owner of something, right? Or I am attached to someone or something being a certain way. That difference between even commitment and attachment, or looking at I said this in the last call, just like a little blip of it when I was sitting in ceremony around being of service. In this moment in our lives, we have had such an incredible and profound, miraculous gift of Santo's sister gave birth to this gorgeous, precious baby, and her name is Princess. When Princess was born, there were a number of things that were alive in the situation, and we were asked to step in as legal guardians to care for this incredibly beautiful master soul. So we were with her solely, right, with community, with Liza and Madeline, just like we had this amazing community experience on the land where she came to the land and she was just so held and supported for the first 4 months. And now her mom has moved to the land and is really showing up and breaking some incredible, incredible places in their lineage around mother. So she did not have one. She does not have a reference point even for what that potentially would look like or feel like to be on the other side of mother. And here she is, and she's like physically present with her daughter. She's here, she's not gone. She's like one day, one moment at a time breaking this. And there are places where I have seen my own self, and I did share a little bit of this in the reflection just of the availability in this moment, right? Realistically, like, of course, because how could it be any other way? And to even use this mirror as an invitation to go back into places, my own self, that I was a mother early on and really unavailable to be in deep connection with my firstborn. Like that's just the reality. In the first few or maybe even 5 years, it was very challenging for me to be in connection with that level of innocence and joy and the wonder and beauty of life. I was so shot out. So um there's moments where, right, it's like seeing just that over here outside of myself, like I have stepped in, but with this subtle energy body of like, this is the way to do this, right? Or like, I'm helping because this isn't going right, or this is my job to da 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 da. Even the subtlety of that imprint in the field has an impact because people feel us. like we feel other people. And so when I'm sitting in medicine, she said, if you cannot go in there with the deepest joy and like celebration in your heart while you're serving, then don't do it at all. If you're going to fix a problem, you're better off not doing it. Pause. Get yourself into a place of really asking, am I available to do this in this moment? Am I available with my time or my energy or all the things? If you are, then choose it. Choose it, and choose it from a place of celebration and delight and joy. Or don't choose it. So this is connected to this energy of fixing something, you know? We've all been on the other side of somebody who is fixing something that we're doing. Yes? Anybody felt that? Yeah. And what do you feel? Like, oh, what I'm doing is wrong in your eyes. There's no, that's how it's going to feel. So if we are coming from that, that is how we're going to leave somebody. So it's like, can we start shifting this thing inside of ourselves first before we move ourselves into action and start engaging with another instrument that is going to feel the field and the frequency of where we're coming from? And this is like the deepest practice. There was another piece in this with like the energies, where how do we, right, even know ourselves in a moment where other energies are coming in and they're strong energies. And so we're super impacted by those energies. Again, being super patient with ourselves and super kind, and being able to not like get taken over by somebody else's energetic field, and being able to know the difference between where I am and where you are, and how where you are is impacting me, and potentially where I am is impacting you. And this like unwinding and pulling apart really is going to be a practice and a process. So like however long it takes, it takes. But if you hold the North Star that that's where you're moving, then inevitably you are moving yourself in that direction. And how do we, in the process and in the moment, right, do our best with what we have to tend to a moment? This was a couple of the other questions, like how do I take care of myself? Or how do I set a boundary? Or how do I engage in that moment when I am dysregulated or I am really impacted and I cannot hold my sovereignty in a moment, and I can feel myself like I'm going to engage or I'm going to go down? Or even what you were asking about your kids, Karina, like how do I know inside of myself when I'm stepping over my limit and my boundary, and like I want to be in full presence with my babies and give them all my care and all my everything and my attention and connect to their essence. And also I need 10 to 15 minutes to like go have a cup of tea so that I can nourish myself and come back into my center. So the way that we're going to get better at this is through our communication. And it's going to get better over time, right? So somebody else said something about not responding because this might activate people's abandonment wounding. Yeah, it might. But if you not responding is the next move, other than you responding from a place or reacting from that compulsion to overgive when you're giving something that you don't want to be giving or you don't have it to give, you're actually better to take a pause, even if something comes up for them. We are not meant to become people who are hyper vigilant and obsessed with never upsetting people. If us taking care of ourselves is upsetting to somebody else, that's for them to sort out. Now, how we go about it, so if you're not responding and you need a pause before you can come into the conversation, that's okay. I do that often. I cannot keep up with everybody's messages. I'm not gonna beat myself up for that. I'm available for what I'm available for, and I love everybody in my life, and sometimes I'm not going to respond. I communicate that. That's the place where I'm responsible. I let people know that on the front end. I don't pretend like or set a template for, or if I have set a template for over responding or responding immediately, I've had to unwind from those things by saying, you know, I am like my time right now, right, is so focused and I have so many things that I'm holding. So you may not hear from me right away. Doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means that I will tend to it when I have a moment and I can be fully present with it. And if you don't hear from me, feel free to give me a gentle nudge. And if you don't hear from me, it doesn't mean I don't love you. I'm honest. I'm honest with people that they maybe just really not, they might not hear back from me. And this scared me at first, right? But then it was like, I can't keep hurting myself to make sure nobody feels abandoned. Now I'm abandoning myself, right? So in order to protect you from feeling an experience, I'm creating it for my own self. This is not going to work. So what does it look like to take care of myself? Somebody asked me recently about like doing an extra call in a container. And the compulsion in me in the moment was like, oh, like I don't want to leave people, you know, feeling like they didn't get all the way held. And then I was like, no, this container was this to this, and it's complete. And so I responded, you know, this is what it was. And there's these other places where there's support. And if you feel like you want to offer it, amazing, right? Like this person could have been mad, disappointed, but it's me in a loving way taking care of myself. And instead of the person being mad and disappointed, they were like, thank you so much for showing me what that looks like. I had no idea. I had no idea that I could actually ever say something like that, because I noticed the thing that you're talking about inside of myself, the compulsion to overgive. So you see, the more that we're actually honest and transparent, and we're not setting ourselves up to be mad at people, like this is where we get into trouble. We get mad at other people when it's time for us to take care of ourselves, because if they weren't there with their need, then we wouldn't have to face the fear of potentially disappointing them. So now we're mad that they had a need that we feel like we can't say no to. And this is like where we just go off the rails here. So instead of being mad at people for making requests or having needs, it's like, how do we develop and mature inside of ourselves to be honest and in communication in a loving, clear, kind, compassionate way? So if I'm in a heated moment with somebody, my partner, my child, my, you know, mother, whatever it is, and I really need to actually step out so that I can regulate my system and get back into my own center, it is taking radical ownership. The moment you say, I need to get out of this because of you, or there's something in that in your field, even if you don't say it, the fight will probably get bigger. If you can recognize inside of yourself that you have a need to pause, and you're clear that that's your need, and it's not because of them, but it's because it's just your need, then you can communicate from that place. I really am feeling myself getting funky in my system, not going to be able to respond my best to this. This matters to me, you matter to me. I want to show up as my best. I'm not there. I need a minute. This one where people have abandonment wounding and you're in dynamics, it's kind to say something along those lines. Like, I need to just step away for a moment so I can come back into my center. I am going to come back to this. If historically you're somebody who goes into avoidance and does not come back to the thing, they will not trust you. And you're going to need to build this trust and repair this trust by, when you say that, you follow your word with your action and you have integrity and you actually come back to the conversation when you feel like you're in your center. And if you're having a while getting there, you can communicate. This thing has not gone missing for me. Like, I'm really contemplating like what is happening so I can be clear and be powerful in my communication with you. I'm not quite there. I haven't forgotten. if you get there and you're scared to share it, you can say that. You know, I've thought a lot about what was coming up, and there's some things that I am seeing, and I'm actually just really feeling terrified to have this conversation because this is a new part of me using my voice. This is not a part that I'm really strong in. Um, I'm I'm like a little bit shaky even coming into this conversation, and not because of you, but because this is new for me. No one ever showed me what this looked like, right? Like I didn't have a reference point for like a woman to be in her sovereignty and in her clarity and be clear in her communication. So I'm like, I'm learning this for the first time, and I'm doing my best to be patient with myself, and I'm scared, right? So we can say things like this. We can say to our children, I love you so much. I love this moment with you so much. Yours are little, Karina, so I'm saying it in this way. Mine are a little bit older, and I can say, I love you so much, right? It's like a different bit of an energy to meet them where they are. Like, I love you. I want to come back into full connection with you. And I just need a minute to take care of myself so that I can really do that in a beautiful way, so that I can really be here with you. What are you teaching your daughters? What are you going to teach your daughters in that moment where you actually communicate, I love you with all my heart? There's like, I want to be fully here with you. And mama really needs a minute to have a tea, just to take care of myself, to like, right, nourish. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to be fully with you again. Or I have something I have to take care of. I don't want to be distracted here while I'm with you. So I'm going to take care of the thing so I can come back and be fully with you. Right? I used to try to manage like responding with trying to talk to the kids, and it was like, this doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? So instead of getting mad at the kids for wanting my attention or feeling like I can't do the thing and then ending up being frustrated with the situation anyways, because I like know that I need to take care of something, even if that something is me, then I communicate, right? So I communicate that, and then I can be with them fully, and then I can be here fully, and I'm not split, because that actually creates like a sense of overwhelm and frustration. Okay, what if the most loving thing for you is not to go back to it when boundaries have been crossed over and over, despite letting the person know? Keep calling and I don't respond after saying that I need space. If the okay, you're answering your own question. What if the most loving thing for you is not to go back to it? Then don't go back to it. It's that, right? Like if I keep saying something over and over and over again, and this is like not being honored. So when I say, "Oh, you know what, I'm really not available, da 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 da," and then the person says something back and then I respond, my actions are not matching my words. Right? So then I'm giving mixed messages about like what I'm available for and what I'm not. I've done this with my husband. Like, I just really don't think that this is the best time for us to have this conversation. And he's like, okay, but da 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 da. And then I'm like, well, but da 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 da. And it's like, I knew it. I knew, like, just right. And then I want to be mad at him that he said the thing that made me say the thing. No, I knew. And then he said something, and then I freaking jumped out of my knowing. So if the most loving thing is to not go back to it, then don't go back to it. And if this is a person you don't want to have in your life because there's like not an understanding of what you're available for and what you're not, you don't have to be in a relationship with them. Yeah. Right? Like, we really don't. And we don't have to do something drastic or dramatic about it. Yeah, for once I actually did great. So just don't respond. Don't respond if you don't want to respond. You really don't have to. We think we have to do these things, and we don't. Who said? It's like we forgot we're in charge. So we really do get to say what we're available for and how our actions, right, like really match our words as much as possible. And again, this is a practice. It's a getting stronger in this. Um, okay, so we are at 12:15, and I think I'm going to wrap this up. Um, let's see. Let me just see if there's one more thing I want to say about any of these questions. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if that was your question, Jess, about the not responding as a tool. So just watching like where we get upset with somebody when they come and like they're the test for us taking care of ourselves or not. Right? It's just another place where we can start leaking our energy in that frustration and in that anger. And even if we don't respond to them, like we might be talking to them in our heads. Right? So, how much time are we wasting and energy are we wasting talking to somebody we don't even want to talk to? That's the next thing to put down. Right? So if we put down the response to them, now the next thing is we put it down in our minds. That's this is like the machete piece with the mind being sharp and the heart being the handle. We choose like this is not where I want to be spending my time or my energy, and so I'm going to discipline and strengthen and sharpen my mind here. I'm going to put that down as quickly as I can, and when I pick it back up, I'm going to put it down as quickly as I can, and when I pick it back up, I'm going to put it down as quickly as I can. Right? How many times can we be driving? Like, right? It's like there have been times where I literally drove somewhere. I'm like, I don't even know how I got here. I was like literally talking to somebody in resentment in my freaking head this whole entire drive. Thank God nobody's hurt. I mean, where even was I? So that place where we go out and we go into the distraction and we go into the noise, if that's the next space to start tuning, that's the next space to start tuning. This is so incredible. You guys, I am so grateful for your questions. I am so grateful for like the hunger and the real desire and earnestness that it's like, okay, like let's learn as much as we can because we're never going to learn it all. Like the moment even that we could learn everything available to us right now, there's going to be some shift on this planet that now all these new things open and then we can learn so much more. Right. So this is an ongoing evolution, conversation, growth, learning. We are students of life, students of love. It's like it gets to be so incredibly beautiful. We can be in wonder about it. We can be in excitement about it. We can meet the moments as they come when they're hard and our hearts breaking and all of it. Like we can stay alive and not have our life go missing and then get to the end and go, oh, shit. What? No. Now we can actually decide and choose for ourselves that we are going to live as much as we possibly can with the life that we've been given. So I had shared that. I really thought the next place that I was going to say, like, let's keep going. Because again, it's not about like, what's the next thing to fix? I really want to encourage any of us who have been trapped in like a looping of trauma and trying to fix and in the addiction of that, because this can also be an addictive pattern, to start looking at the growth in a different way. Like looking at, wow, yes, this is always ongoing. I'm always going to be able to continue to grow and expand and learn and develop and master and hone my gifts and sharpen my mind and be able to maneuver my heart in the way that I want to because I'm so connected to myself and so in my sovereignty. And this is just like the ongoing evolution. So Lauren inspired the next container, and all your questions also inspired the next container, which is going to happen before the legacy containers. This next one is opening September 17th. It is going to be on the full moon, and it is going to be our opening ceremony. And the name of this is the Empowered Empath. So we are going to be really fine tuning, pulling apart, looking at all of these subtleties and nuances that come alive in a lot of the conversation we just had around when I override my knowing and I go outside of my limits and boundaries and I go into people pleasing, over giving. We're going to have more clarity around this. So we're going to open on the full moon. We're going to have 3 days of like boom, boom, boom. And then we're going to close it on the new moon on October 2nd. So this is a 5-day container that's going to be very rich and very yummy. I could feel it this morning as it was like in my body. I was like, oh, this is really going to be good. And I created the places for you to land for the legacy of love and the legacy of leadership. I have those links available too, but I'm actually not going to give them to you. So I have to create a new link and a new thing and a new place for anybody who is feeling that again from the energy of, yes, Amma, like you're going to keep freaking growing till literally you breathe your last breath. I know it. So like, let's go. I'm in. I want to continue because this is like really incredible. And what else am I going to be doing? This is great. It's helping me so much. I want to continue to grow and strengthen from that energy. If that is a yes for you, it's 222. So 5 days of us just being in this radical, beautiful, deeper conversation around this piece in particular. And I will create this as soon as possible by tonight. So I will send it into the Facebook group. I will send it in an email. And for now, I'm going to take my family down to the water and down to the lake. And I'm going to just go jump on a bunch of inflatables like a wild child and play and splash around in the water and in the sun and look at beautiful Mount Shasta. And I'm going to take your hearts, your visions, your dreams, your beauty, your magnificence, your pain. And I am going to just create a prayer in that water for all of you. And I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this ride. So excited to keep it going. And this is really because of you. So thank you, thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Happy Lionsgate!